I jolted awake to the grinding roar of heavy machinery and the dull thud of concrete slamming into the ground. It was just past 6:45 a.m., and my barely buttered toast hit the floor as I scrambled to the window, coffee still in hand. My jaw dropped. Two construction workers in neon vests were unloading massive concrete barriers right across my driveway, not near it, not next to it, but completely blocking it, like I was suddenly under house arrest. Behind them sat a silver sedan I didn't recognize, with a tall, stern-looking woman leaning against it, arms folded like she was guarding a crime scene. My crime apparently was existing. I threw the door open, still in pajama pants, and marched outside barefoot onto the lawn. "Excuse me," I yelled, "what exactly are you doing?" One worker, a guy who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else, glanced at me and shrugged. "You own this place?" "Yeah, it's my house." "What's happening?" He jerked a thumb toward the woman by the car. "Talk to the cop." I squinted. The sedan had no sirens, no official markings. The woman wasn't in uniform, just a navy blazer with a flimsy plastic badge pinned to it. Not a real one, but a cheap, shiny thing that read, Chief of Police HOA. What kind of neighborhood power trip was this? She stepped forward, clipboard in hand, her lips locked in a tight frown. "Mr. Carter," she said, "you've ignored multiple notices from the Homeowners Association about unpaid dues. We're now restricting vehicle access to your property until you settle your balance." My brain stalled. "What? I'm not in your HO." She tilted her head slightly. "You are now. We expanded our jurisdiction 2 months ago. A vote was held. You're within the new boundary." I stared, dumbfounded. "I never agreed to that." "I got a letter," I replied. "I said no." She flashed a cold, robotic smile. "The expansion passed 3-1. Your participation wasn't required. It's in effect. There are moments when you wonder if you're being punked. If a camera crew's about to jump out yelling, 'Surprise!' This wasn't that. This was me realizing I'd stumbled into a bizarre alternate reality where HOA board members handed themselves badges and concrete authority. I took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. "You can't just trap me here. That's illegal." She nodded to the workers. "Please continue." Then back to me, "Sir, I suggest you go inside and find your checkbook. You owe 2 years of back dues. I can waive the late fees if you pay now." "Nope," I said, turning back toward the house. I didn't glance back as she shouted something about compliance. The door slammed shut, and I grabbed my phone, dialing the real police, the ones with training and actual jurisdiction. I explained that a woman posing as an officer had blocked my driveway with concrete barriers and wouldn't let me leave. The dispatcher paused, then said, "We're sending officers over now." Next, I called my boss to say I wouldn't make it to work. It was the strangest excuse I'd ever given. "I've been driveway blocked by a fake HOA cop." She didn't laugh, just wished me luck. 10 minutes later, a black and white cruiser rolled up. The clipboard woman, let's call her Denise, strutted over to the officers like she belonged with them. From the window, I watched her gesturing wildly, pointing at my house. One officer raised a hand to stop her, the other walked to my door. I opened it before he knocked. "You the one who called?" "Yep. That woman, Denise, says she's the HOA chief of police." "She's not. I'm not in the HOA. She blocked my driveway." He nodded, scribbling notes. "She say anything else?" "Said I owe dues, that they expanded their boundaries, and I'm under her rules now." I told her no repeatedly. She ignored me. He glanced at his partner. "You're not the first. We've had other calls from this neighborhood lately." The second officer returned, shaking her head. "She's serious. Claims she's got policing powers from the HOA board to enforce financial compliance and protect the area from bad actors." I blinked. "Bad actors?" "She also called herself Commander Denise at one point," she added, barely hiding a smirk. "So she's delusional?" I asked. "Or just power-hungry," the first officer replied. They moved fast. One ordered the workers to remove the barriers. Denise protested, yelling that city police had no authority over HOA matters. A worker asked if he'd still get paid. The officers ignored her until she charged toward me, screaming, "You're not special. You're not above the rules." She looked ready to swing. I stepped back, but the female officer tackled her before she reached my porch, pinning her face down in the grass. Her plastic badge snapped in half as she shrieked about legal immunity and HOA rights. They cuffed her. I confirmed I'd pressed charges trespassing, impersonating an officer, harassment, the full list. As they hauled her away, she glared at me, muttering, "You'll regret this." I shut the door and exhaled. My driveway was clear, but I knew this was just the start. If one Denise existed, there were likely more, and if this was her daylight move, what else could the HOA dream up? They thought I'd cave, pay up, and shut up. They picked the wrong driveway. The next day I thought the madness was over. The barriers were gone, and I figured Denise's grassy faceplant marked the end. Wrong. That afternoon, a delivery truck dropped off a thick manila envelope stamp with an HOA logo I'd never signed up for. Inside was a dues notice citing new territorial statutes. Denise's arrest hadn't stopped them, it had just paused them. They were doubling down. I called the police again, hoping to reach one of the officers from the day before. They told me Denise had posted bail within hours, not even a night in custody, like she'd been caught jaywalking. My skin crawled. I asked about a restraining order. They said it'd take time and suggested a lawyer. I hung up, feeling a rare pang of helplessness. They weren't retreating, they were regrouping. 2 days later, their regrouping got absurd. I came home from work to find a man on my lawn with a measuring wheel scribbling on a clipboard. He wore a navy polo with HOA enforcement stitched on it. I stepped out of my car. "Who are you, and what are you doing?" He looked up, talking to me like I was a kid trespassing. "Just confirming boundary compliance. Routine inspection. Get off my property." He smirked. "The new territorial lines are approved. I'm within my rights." I threatened to call the cops again. He nodded, amused, but left after tucking a $500 fine under my windshield wiper for non-cooperation during inspection. I tore it up and booked a lawyer for the next morning. I brought every letter, notice, and Denise's fake badge to the meeting. My lawyer, grinning as he flipped through the pile, said Denise's chief of HOA police stunt was a crime impersonation, unlawful detainment, harassment, and now extortion. He was thrilled. "We've got a case, especially if others are involved." I posted a neutral account of my ordeal on a local forum, expecting little. Instead, I got a flood of messages. 7 neighbors had received similar demands despite not being HOA members. 2 paid to stop the harassment. An elderly couple sold their home to escape the stress. That one hit hard. With my lawyer, we collected statements. The HOA didn't slow down. Another enforcer showed up, claiming my mailbox standard, black, functional violet HOA rules. I laughed him off. He threatened a fine. Then a neighbor, Lisa, rang my bell with her own stack of HOA mail. She'd paid over $1,000 in fake dues out of fear. I asked if she'd join the lawsuit. Her face lit up. This wasn't just a case, Anna Marie, it was a revolt. The HOA's next move was a certified letter from their legal affairs department, laughable, since they had no real legal team. It banned me from meetings and amenities, a broken tennis court, for my combative nature, and warned of forced property restrictions for non-compliance. My lawyer called it coordinated harassment by a rogue group. By week's end, we had 10 residents' testimonies, 5 coerced into paying. The HOA was a cartel in khakis, wielding clipboards like weapons. I wasn't just fighting back, I was ready to tear it down.